Hey everyone, Michael McGinnis here. Hey, what a pleasure to sharing with you about attitude. This relates to attitude part one, really getting started. Well, the best I can do here is to get you started, to help get you started, is to share a couple of stories, inspirational stories, one being one of the best examples of what a change in attitude can do. And the second, nothing like our own experiences. My own experience, my own life transformation, which began by a change in attitude. So, step one, right, was a story of an amazing individual, Viktor Frankl. His book is The Man's Search for Meaning. In fact, I'll start with one of his quotes. It reads, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Well, really quite profound. Well, even more profound than that was his actual experience. And Viktor Frankl had probably the epitome of a bad experience. He was actually in one of the concentration camps during World War II, a Jew who was unfortunately, banded with so many thousands and millions of others who had often had come to the end of life in there. I was really fortunate to have actually seen firsthand the concentration camp that he was in, Auschwitz in Poland. I volunteered and backpacked extensively abroad, which really is going to be a source for so many other stories yet to come. But in any case, he was there in this most deplorable situation. And he noticed around him that so many of the others just willed their life away, right? Didn't eat or whatever because it was just so incredibly painful. He challenged himself. This is, he wanted to survive. And as a result, he learned about his quote that, in effect, the one thing that not even the Germans, the concentration camp, anyone could take from him was his attitude. That was his choice. And he found little ways, he shares in his book, that he was able to sustain himself amongst this deplorable situation. Well, that was a real inspiration for me because I too really grew up in a very difficult circumstance. Torture was unfortunately characteristic of what I experienced. But I didn't succumb. And later in life, although I walked out into life with tons of issues and challenges, the whole story in itself, in fact, the story I wrote a book on, Discovering Michael, an inspirational guide for personal growth and self-discovery. And in there was really the culmination of what happened and what I did to really turn my life around. Well, like anything, it begins with a shift in attitude. My attitude initially was that of a victim, right? Somebody who's blaming others for all of the ills and woes. And to some degree, I had a right to that kind of a mindset, blaming particularly my dad for all of the abuse and the negativity that it created with me. And I walked out in life. However, somebody had challenged me along the way and they said, at some point, Mike, you've got to grow up. You've got to assume your role as an adult and take charge. That's something you can take charge of. Well, it was just that essence of taking charge which started to turn around my attitude of blame, negativity, victim to one that, you know what, I'm taking charge of my life. And with that attitude shift came a whole story in itself of what I did along the way to really make substantial changes in my life. To be at that point where now today I get a chance to share with you these stories. So attitude can make a big difference. My case, it went from victim to victor. In your case, it could be any of the subtle ways, the ways of which you represent this negative aspect in your life, particularly your feelings. Feelings are a great indicator to really what's going on in our bodies today. And to be able to learn and discern those feelings in terms of what they relate to is a real powerful characteristic. That takes time to develop. However, upfront, it's the ability to be able to identify what are those situations that we want in our life to improve, to be able to make substantial changes in, to change within respect to our own behaviors, to increase the betterment of a life, to be happier. And as my motto is to wake up every day with meaning, purpose, love, and joy. Attitude is indeed everything. It's the kernel that lies deep within us and is a result of our experiences and mostly our perceptions. And we change our perceptions, we can change our attitude. And that's how a new life begins. So look forward to the series with you going forward on attitude. Thanks so much for stopping by, visiting. Have a great day.